we have another information-packed webinar. So um, definitely recommend, if you like to take notes, to have something handy to do that. You'll be able to get this presentation. I think Jennifer and Alex are going to send this to everybody who's attending the webinar, and you can also find it on SlideShare and YouTube as well if you want to get it afterwards. So thanks for joining, and this is going to be optimizing for mobile, but I think one of the things that we're probably going to surprise you guys with is sort of the scope of what mobile is. A lot of people think about mobile, optimization around a website, and in fact, that is part of it, but it's not all of it. Mobile plays a much bigger role in helping you do and accomplish a lot of things towards lead generation. We're going to share with you a lot of those ideas here, and maybe even talk to you about some tools that we've created and we're about to launch that's going to help you as well. So what we're going to cover today is mobile and your website. That is something that's important, and ways to think about the view of mobile in your website, interaction of people with mobile in your website, but then also talk about mobile as it relates to local search. And that's a really important paradigm to think about, because search is not, just Google desktop anymore. Search is, iPhone and navigation systems and all kinds of things. So how do you make sure that you're optimized for mobile and local? And then also talk about mobile and social, because social has its own set of things that you want to think about when you think about mobile optimization of your digital footprint. And then we're going to talk about mobile in your workflow, which is some of the other things, broader things that we talked about. When you've got, your website, and then you've got mobile and local, like directories and things you want to make sure you're participating in. You've got mobile and social, and you want to create interesting content. Mobile is a great place to actually create content and format that content and publish content. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And we'll talk to you about a new product that we're rolling out, a new service called GeoJuice, and also our mobile responsive websites that we're rolling out for all of our customers. So number one question we get as we speak around the country and talk to a lot of clients across North America is, how important is it for your site to be mobile optimized? A lot of people have had sites for several years, and they're obviously not mobile responsive, and they're trying to decide what to do. So we'll talk a little bit about that and answer that question. Another question that we get is around what's the difference between a mobile and a desktop design? Because there are critical differences that you want to be aware of in terms of the actual design, and then we'll get into some of the mobile local and mobile social things that we talked about as well. But those design elements could still hold true for you. So here's the sort of money slide, why you need to be paying attention to mobile. When you think about mobile, in this case, this is a example roofing client that we have, and you could see that mobile traffic is almost 30% of the traffic of that website. And then if you think about, different types of mobile, here in this case, the iPhone operating system is by far the biggest, with almost 65% of that traffic, with Android next and Windows Phone far behind that. So mobile is now accounting for, today, almost 30% of the traffic of an average roofing client, by way of example here. So if you think about 30% today, where that's going in the future, mobile's something that you really have to pay attention to, and how you're going to reach, influence, and convert customers to create leads. So mobile is starting to overtake desktop now too, and this is a slide on email, and we thought it was important to include because email particularly, and if you're doing things like email newsletters are becoming a really important place to be able to reach people, because they're opening email up on their mobile devices today more than they're doing it on desktop. So it's really important, or almost equal. So,
Yeah.
oh, we have a poll. Alex is about to tell us about the poll.
Yes.
So we want to find out from you guys, get a better idea of how mobile fits in and what the kind of level of expertise is for you guys. Is just right is launching a poll about, are you currently using?
Yep. Does your business currently have a mobile responsive or mobile optimized website?
All right, so we'll launch the poll and give you guys about 20 seconds or so to answer that. All right, good participation. Let's keep going, guys. Okay. Another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll close the poll. So, so about almost 70% of you do not right now. And one of the things to clarify here too, it's interesting, is there's different flavors of mobile. Um, there's mobile friendly websites, meaning that your site resizes and retargets.
Can we run?
Oh,
Can we run another poll real quick? We want to know for
okay.
those of you who answered yes, if you're satisfied with how it's working.
Okay.
People are starting to vote. All right, we are going to go ahead and close the poll.
Okay, about 67%. So let me kind of just address this issue, kind of flavors of mobile responsive. There's mobile friendly, which was the first version of mobile that was created, and there's all kinds of plugins in WordPress that let your site become mobile friendly, and that's what we've been using historically with our clients. And now we are about to release sort of Surefire Social Websites 2.0, and both on our Select framework and our Professional framework, where you could actually customize the view. They're called mobile responsive sites, and we're going to be launching those over the next month or so with our clients, where they go on mobile responsive websites where we can customize the view. We'll show you some examples of that later on in this presentation. Now, there's a third flavor of mobile. That's just a mobile website, and we'll talk about that down the road a little bit here too. A mobile website is just a separate website on a .mo platform, and there's positives and negatives of both that we'll go through in a little bit. But right now, the key is users are starting to create expectations of behavior of a website in mobile because they're on mobile more, they're using mobile more. So they want to make sure that the look and feel of the site looks right. And we know 40% will choose another result on a search engine results page on a mobile device if they feel like the site doesn't fit right or isn't working right on their site. The second major point here is speed, and it gets into really about site speed. And if your site doesn't render in 5 seconds, you're going to have an awful lot of them that are going to move on to a different website. So speed and making sure the formatting is right are key elements to making sure that the mobile site that you're using is working right. And those are key parameters for what we've been looking for as we designed our next site. So I'm going to let Jennifer talk more about some of the specifics about file size and how to make sure that you're building a site that's optimized for mobile. Take it away, Jennifer.
All right. So none of us want to have site bounces when people come to our site. So one thing is that you need to have small file sizes. That doesn't necessarily mean small images, although that's important too, but it means to compress them and still have quality to the degree that the images still look good, but to compress them so that they don't slow down your site. Also, I have here in the right corner some information on editing your photos. You can do this in just a photo editing program. You can crop them if you need to. You can reduce the color depth. You can remove image comments and then save the images with the best suited format. So PNGs for most files, GIFs for small images, and JPEGs for photos.
All right. So next up is landing page formatting. So we've got the sort of like kind of rules of the road in terms of size and such, and now let's talk about, Jennifer, kind of the anatomy of a mobile landing page.
Okay, so we have that kind of represented in the right-hand corner with the images. Each of these concepts is displayed here. Big fonts, you see how it says call at the top, that's nice and big. High contrast, you want to have your call to action buttons bright so people see them and they click them and they contact you. You want to have tappable buttons so you can direct people to different parts of the site. Just because when you're on a mobile phone, you're using your hands and you need something that you can actually touch and not hit the wrong button, for example. Click to call is great because someone can just click the phone number on your landing page and then call you right from their phone, and that's the benefit of a mobile device. A map to your location is great because it helps people get to you when they're on the go, so it's direct.
Especially if you have a showroom or something like that. If you don't have a showroom, that's not as important, but if you do, that's a great way to get people to a showroom. All right. Next up, interior pages. So people are going to navigate from the home page that we just saw on a mobile device into interior pages. Let's talk about that for a second, Jennifer.
Okay, so with your interior pages, you can have a little more content. It's different from your landing page where you just want to find out where someone's going next. With this, you want to keep the content still concise so that someone can get the main idea that you're trying to get across very quickly. You want to have social proofs so people know that you're a reliable business. You want to have clean, streamlined layout so that people don't get confused looking at your content and don't know where to go next. And visual content is nice too because it just gives you something to look at as you're moving through.
All right. So now we're getting down into specifics. So this is stuff that you're going to want to pick up this PowerPoint so you don't have to take too many notes here, but there's a lot of good information, Jennifer, laid out here. Why don't you just kind of top line some of this stuff, Jennifer?
Okay, so this info is also good when you're doing email marketing campaigns. People read email on their phone all the time, so you want to make sure that the emails are legible on a phone. So big body copy, 14 points is good. Headlines even bigger, 22 points. You want to reduce the width of the content so that it fits onto a mobile phone or a tablet. Single column layout is good so that it's scrollable and people aren't looking all over for the content, scrolling right to left. It's just a downward scroll. CTAs near the top, that's call to actions. And very important at the bottom, you want it to be user-friendly. So if there's something like a plugin or Flash that people can't access on their phone, it's going to look like a broken link, and that's not good. So you want to make sure that all of your content can be accessed on a mobile device, and that you give people the option to use the desktop version of your site if that's what they prefer to do.
We'll show you some examples. So what mobile viewers want is, in a lot of cases, they want to research your company. They might want to look at testimonials, social proof, business background, and stuff. But to me, the most important thing, if someone, especially in a lot of our clients are service-driven clients, if they're doing research, a lot of times they'll do that on desktop. But if they're searching on their mobile, they want to reach somebody. So making sure your location, contact number, email, a quick way to contact is probably one of the most important things. And then if they have a question to ask, let's say you did some work, they have a relationship with you, you did some work and they've got a question about that work, or they want to add on additional work, or can you come back this year and redo something or other. So you want to be able to have these things handy, and then educational content or content or especially more recent content, especially around seasonality, things like that, you're going to want to be able to surface up front. So, you want to kind of select a few of these things and put them really at easy access for people. Anything you think that's important to add here, Jennifer?
No, I think you covered it.
Good. Now the eye candy. So, so here's an example of a do and a don't, a glamour do and a glamour don't. Here's an easy to call, easy to request an estimate, easy to dig into what the top services are on the left. Go into that. Go into sub-pages into it. This is a lot like what not necessarily look and feel, but what our new responsive templates are going to be like for some of our select clients at Tripwire Social. On the right, you'll see a don't, if you will. People can still get to things easily, with the navigation on the right, but that's an awful lot of type and a lot of small type for someone to be able to read. So you want to move towards a responsive design site that looks like the left. If you have a reviews engine that you use, something like Bazaar Voice or Guild Quality, or reviews you're consistently getting from somewhere, you might want to have social proof or reviews up in this example on the left as well. But that's the way you're going to want your mobile responsive to be, how easy you want it to be. So let's talk about mobile responsive versus mobile optimized. We're not going to talk about a mobile friendly here, because that's where we're moving beyond now. We're moving from mobile friendly sites to mobile responsive or mobile optimized. So Jennifer, why don't you walk people through this, and I could add my color commentary.
Okay, so Chris went over this a little bit already, but just so you know what each is. Responsive is code that you're building into your website, so that it automatically adjusts to any device that you're using. Different phones that have different sizes, tablets. With responsive code, it can adjust to those immediately. With an optimized site, you have a completely different site. And for SEO purposes, you're not getting extra points for that. You're not taking away, but you're not getting anything extra. And Google prefers that you use responsive. In terms of maintenance, you really have to usually get a site redesigned for responsive. It's a lot of code and a lot that you have to change, and it's best to just do it from scratch when you're building out a site. With a mobile optimized site, one of the dangers that you run into is that these devices change over time. The sizes of the screens change, and so potentially the site that you've built that's mobile optimized isn't going to make any sense when the iPhone is teeny tiny and the screen is different.
Or it's a watch.
Or it's a watch, yeah, exactly. You have glasses.
Yeah, so this is a constantly moving target. Because Google prefers responsive, we prefer responsive. Doing responsive is a little bit harder, takes a lot more coding, and you gotta do that code in a way that provides flexibility and really targeted by device. But when you get there, it's a lot better for your company. There are ways to do optimized, where you build a separate site where you could do some code on that, where it looks like it's part of your overall site, which addresses some of the Google issues about them reading two sites and having your audience distributed over two sites. Because as everyone knows, part of the algorithm is how many people go to a site, and distributing over two sites isn't that great. But there are ways to address that if you wanted to go optimized while you were building responsive or something like that. So there's different ways to handle that. So testing for mobile sites, there's ways that you could make sure that your mobile site is working the right way for you. And Jennifer, why don't you walk us through that?
All right, so The first thing is that you need to set up Google Analytics, and these steps are specifically for using Google Analytics. You want to examine the specific areas with high bounce rates, especially the pages that you get a lot of site traffic to, because that's going to show you if people who are visiting your mobile site are behaving differently from the way that they behave when they're visiting your desktop site. You want to check out what pages that visitors land on when they select the full desktop version. So right there where it says use, those are the reports that you can look at within Google Analytics. And then you want to speed up slow pages. So you go to Analytics and you identify the slow pages. That's through speed reports, then page timing reports, and user timing reports to look at the individual elements on each page and make sure that they're performing well on mobile.
So like everything in online, there's tons of analytics that you could get to look at what's going on. With us, our coaches are always looking at pages and site speed, and we actually have scripts that run overnight that look at all these different things for different clients. But if you don't have that, it's important to make sure that you're visiting analytics to do some of these things at least once a month or some regular period of time. So mobile and local. Mobile search is location sensitive. So proximity signals that you could give for your company all around the web, including your website, are really, really important for your business. So business listings become really, really important. Things like Yelp and Google Places and Google Maps, and there are ways that you could make sure that you broadcast your listings, your most current listings everywhere, because you want them to be consistent in all different places in the web anyway, so that you could make sure that your right physical address and phone number and such is in all the major directories. And there are many of these things that you could actually, what we call, claim, which freezes your data from being scraped or changed by outside parties, so that you make sure in all the major ones you control that data, because it's so important to give that proximity reading for mobile search. And when you do that, you could start running localized pay-per-click ads in Google, in Yelp, in a lot of different places. Weather Channel, for example, we're doing stuff for some of our clients, where you could then, then with that proximity, you'll be able to do a lot of different types of things to expand and amplify your visibility. Okay. So expansion of local search. 95% of smartphone users search for local information on their mobile device. So consumers are searching locally. You want to talk about this slide, this Pew research, Jennifer?
Okay. Well, so most consumers, when they're on their cell phones that are smartphones, they're looking at location-based services. And 46% of mobile phone users use location-based services. So location is central to mobile use, because usually people who are on their mobile devices are in transit. They're not looking at their desktop.
Yes. So the what's happened is mobile, in my opinion, is turned the tables in favor of local businesses that can create these local signals. So 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it was more difficult for local businesses to win search results ahead of national brands. Today, it started about 4 or 5 years ago, but it's accelerated where local business could actually win versus national businesses because of this proximity notion. Mentioning a local location or mobile ad and search results can increase your click-through rates up to 200%. So the idea here is that you get much better click-through rates if you have location mentioned in your ad, meaning a physical location. Washington D.C., Reston, Virginia, Milwaukee, that kind of a location. So mobile and social. So it's funny. Facebook released their earnings about about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and they were phenomenal, phenomenal. And everybody was wondering if Facebook is dead, if Facebook's not going to adjust to mobile. If you remember when they went public 2 years ago, people wondered if Facebook could adjust to mobile. Well, their stock, went through the roof, and earnings did really well because they were able to adjust to mobile and really drive mobile revenue. So mobile is becoming really big in the social space. Why don't you talk about this slide a little bit, Jennifer, and kind of how important is this in these social platforms?
Okay. Well, we're going to go into each individual area. I mean, actually, specifically Facebook and video, but just lots and lots of people are using mobile devices to access their social accounts, and that's one of the biggest uses for mobile phones. So it's a huge part of what they're doing when they're on their phones.
Yeah, and these numbers speak for themselves. So social network, desktop versus mobile time spent, you could see here that all the way through Facebook, whereas almost 70% of the time on Facebook, and Facebook by far is the most time spent, right? So this is percent of time spent, but in time spent, Facebook would be far to the left. Is spent on mobile devices. So the current situation, people see their social on mobile by far, and creating a compact, actionable content strategy in social where people can engage with your content and you can get leads using mobile as a way to reach them is an important strategy for you. Anything you want to add to this, Jennifer?
I think you got it.
Good. So social mobile tips, why don't you cover this one?
Okay, so this is just how you can modify your posts for social to make sure that they're accessible when someone's looking at them on their cell phone. Make sure that you shorten the links. You can use something like Bitly, that helps. Have a single focus. Don't have your posts talking about a million different things. You want to just get to the point with them. Visual content is great on a cell phone. You can produce content for specific mobile platforms like Vine videos or images for Instagram. Utilize the mobile map and check-in technology, and we're going to talk about Facebook Nearby in just a little bit, and that's a great technology that you can use. And one of the great benefits of cell phones is that you can crowdsource content. People are constantly taking images and videos with their phones. Why not use that content to the benefit of your business?
Yeah, that's the huge thing, especially for service-driven companies where you're doing work out where people live or are going to live or whatever. Being able to crowdsource content with your mobile is one of the biggest single things we'd like you to get out of this presentation. So mobile video is also growing in use. So 40% of YouTube, this is kind of shocking to me, is watched on a mobile device. So doing videos, and just like you can capture pictures on mobile, you can capture video now pretty easily on mobile and publish it to YouTube. So using social to crowdsource video is a really important new concept to make sure you take advantage of. And Facebook on mobile, why don't you cover this one, Jen, because you're more familiar with it.
Okay, so a lot of the page likes that you get on your Facebook are coming from mobile, whether or not you know it. And 91% of local searchers say that they use Facebook to find local businesses. So that means people are going onto Facebook and looking locally for businesses. The other thing is that when people go to your Facebook page while they're on a mobile device, one of the first things they see is reviews. So you want to try to get those from past customers, ideally right after a job is completed. And the other thing is that you want to have your business information up to date so that people looking at your profile on Facebook can contact your business directly.
Great. Facebook Nearby, this is what you were talking about earlier, Jen. Talk to us about this.
Okay, Facebook Nearby is very exciting. If you have the Facebook app already, you already have Facebook Nearby. Facebook knows where you're located, and when you go onto Facebook Nearby, which you can do by just selecting More in the right-hand corner on your phone, it's just the little area you see there with the 3 lines. You select that, and it's going to take you to a map. Right there, you can put in whatever you want to look up. We put in roofers, and then you're able to see all of the roofing businesses in our vicinity. And another great thing is that it can show you what your Facebook friends like also. So if there's a specific roofer that they like and they've liked on Facebook, then you would see that on the map too with a picture of their face. You also want to claim your business. You can allow check-ins. So you can change your business category to local business, add your address to your page, update your business hours and contact info so that it's accurate, and then you check the box next to this show map check-ins and star ratings on the page, and then make sure you save it and test it.
Awesome. Really cool new product. So mobile in your workflow, as we were talking about using mobile to be able to, you know, get information while you're away from your desktop, and you could have there's lots of apps that help you do different things, and then we'll get into how you could use mobile to crowdsource stuff. So let's talk about this, Jennifer, about common tasks that mobile is helping people with, and how they could think about apps or search for apps to do different things.
Right. So you want to think about what your particular business does and what it can do while you're away from your desk. And we're constantly away from our desks when we're working, but there are a lot of tasks that we still need to take care of. So on a basic level, email, most of us do that already. We're checking our work email from our phones. But you can also use mobile apps to deliver contracts, to modify your social profiles and post content. You can add contacts to your database, right? When you meet somebody, there's something called Snap app that we use for our CRM, which is great. You can maintain your office calendar and schedule appointments, and document completed projects, which will come into play a little bit later, and then log and update job statuses.
I mean, here's the deal. Just about anything you do on the desktop now has a companion mobile app that can help you get data, retrieve data, and do things, in a mobile environment as well. So make sure you're taking advantage of those things and experimenting with them, because it'll make you a lot more efficient. So we're going to talk to you about a mobile app that we just launched, or we're about to launch, and our mobile responsive sites. So we work with a lot of service companies, especially home improvement service companies or medical practices or real estate professionals. And one of the big opportunities is being able to create content in the field. When you deliver a new kitchen or a new roof or new windows, you get a satisfied customer there. Imagine being able to snap a picture and then have your field guy describe what he's working on, as you could see in that photo on the left, and then be able to press that pin, and then be able to automatically post that content and have it geocoded. Remember, we talked about how important geocode is, to the right geography page on your website, as well as to your social media sites, and actually do what's called a check-in and make that really easy. So the idea is, how do we arm your people in the field to be able to help crowdsource authentic, quality content and distribute that? Because those proximity signals and those content signals on your website and in social media are going to help do a lot of those things that we talked about earlier. So we created an app called GeoJuice that'll help you do that. And this gives you an example of a local landing page where it gives, we create a heat map on that local landing page for all the check-ins, and then we have the picture, we have the person, and then they can actually give you a ratings and review afterward. Because most people, if you ask them for a review when they're at that point of satisfaction, will give you a review back. And it's a great way to get more quality 4- and 5-star reviews. So this app helps you do that, and it's a really, really great way to crowdsource additional content. And this shows you what that review app allows you to do at that point of satisfaction. And then location data management services is something else that we help you do, where we get all that data and claim all the data for your proximity information across all the directories, and claim that data where we need to claim it, so that we can make sure that you've got that location data where you need it to be available and search everywhere you need to be available. So summing it up, reduce website content and test it on mobile, minimize file sizes and get your speed right, update your website and social profiles to reflect your location information, create content that engages mobile users on the fly, make sure you use apps to be more productive, including crowdsourcing content, and try out GeoJuice. If you're a current client, talk to your coach or account services person about it. Um, and if you're a current client, we're also going to be coming to you in the next several weeks with upgrading your current website to mobile responsive. And that's a really exciting process for us as well. So with that, we're going to launch another poll. If someone wants for us to follow up with them, and Alex is going to launch that, she'll also read some questions while you guys are answering that poll.
Okay, so we had some great questions throughout the webinar. The first one we're going to start with is someone asked how difficult it is to make their website mobile responsive. Is it a long process?
It depends on what kind of a website that you've got. In most cases, if your website is several years old, and let's say you've got WordPress or Joomla or something like that, a popular content management system, there's a plugin that you could use to make it mobile friendly for now, which at least makes the site speed and signals to the search engines that, you know what, this is a mobile a mobile optimized site, so you won't get penalized in search rankings on mobile. Then your decision is it is more complicated. It's basically a complete rebuild of a website to build code into your site that's mobile responsive and customize it. Another quick out would be to build a mobile optimized website on a .mo platform, and then that gives you time to eventually build a mobile responsive website if that's a strategy you want to do. For us, we think you're better off doing mobile friendly and then doing mobile responsive, but there's nothing wrong with doing a mobile optimized site. Make sure that whoever's doing it for you it does the proper coding to signal to the search engines it's all part of your main overall site.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chris. The next one is, what is the most important social site to be on for mobile? Would you say it would be Facebook or a video sharing site like YouTube?
That's it's sort of hard to answer that question without knowing more about the business category you're in and what you find you're able to create content. If you love doing videos and you had videos set up in your office and you had all your guys trained to do videos out in the field, then maybe YouTube might be a great place to do it because then you could take that YouTube embed code for the channels that you've got and use that on your website and use that in other social media. Facebook, we find, is a huge traffic driver for our clients. So if you were looking for where you think you could drive the most traffic, Facebook and Pinterest would probably be the two social media places I would focus my attention on. But YouTube is an important place to be able to publish your videos on and use those YouTube embeds for the social media. So it's not it might not be the as clear an answer as you're looking for, but that's the way you ought to be thinking about it.
Okay, so we have a couple more questions. Do you have any recommendations on how to get consistent reviews on Facebook? Is there a process in place that we could do?
Yeah, that's a really good question because the reviews on Facebook is a somewhat new phenomenon. When they changed up their pages, their business pages, they added that widget as a mandatory as long as you put in your location data in Facebook, which we recommend you do because again that proximity information is important. Then that's going to be there by default. So just like you want to get more reviews on Yelp and Google Plus and other places, encouraging your clients to give you reviews on Facebook, making that part of your business process is really, really important. Now, you might be able to do what's called a custom audience targeted promotional post where you could take your previous client database, import that into a Power Editor at Facebook, and do a campaign, a promoted post campaign, to invite your previous customers to give you reviews. That's a great way to get reviews on Facebook. We got to do that, by the way, girls, as a post of how to get reviews on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, then the last question. This has to do with business listings on mobile. How can I make sure all of my business listings are consistent across mobile directories?
Yeah. Well, the key thing is there's services that you could go to, like Info Group or Localese, Axiom, and there's places that you go to, that will help you, with one time you create your identity, and then they'll broadcast that identity across lots of different Localese, Info Group, and Axiom, and many other places, car navigation systems, to make sure that your data proliferates, the data that you want, the most accurate data proliferates through the web. So making sure that you've got that, that you do that, and we've got a way to do that very easily. We've got someone that works with you to do that, and we'll claim that data. So if you answer yes to that poll question, we'll have someone follow up with you to tell you how you could do that. So what do you think? So I think that is the last question that we have time for. We try to keep these at 45 minutes. If you guys answered yes to the question, we'll be having someone follow up with you to get some more information from you, what kind of help we can give you, or what kind of a direction we can give you, and then we'll follow up with you accordingly. We thank you for that. We have a great webinar coming up next month, so stay tuned for some promotional message on that. We thank everybody for joining. If you guys are in some of those affected areas by the storms, good luck with that, and hope you get out there and help a lot of homes. And thank you for your time.